This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
Well, there you go. I'll hit the right button. G'day, folks. How you going tonight? Well, here we are off the Sunshine Coast and back into brisk, but not quite so sunny Brisbane at this juncture. So I've had some interesting news literally in the last few minutes. The Aussie Cossack cannot join us, at least not right now. He may not join us. I'll keep going for a little while here and see whether or not he can. But he's been called away to a meeting with his lawyer. Mrs. Cossack gave me a call, and it's been unavoidable. I guess when the law calls, you've got to go and do what they say. So we'll hopefully find out a little bit later on what all that was about. But he has promised that he'll call me at least later and let me know what's going on, and we will reschedule our interview. I know a lot of you were excited to catch up with him tonight. So was I. We haven't had the chance to have a good chat since he got out, really. He's been flat out doing what he's doing, and I've been flat out doing what I'm doing, so it hasn't been easy to catch up. Anyway, tonight may not be the night. What I will try and do is answer a few of your questions, and I've got a couple of other little interesting things I might like to show you tonight. In fact, I've got to try and find my correct glasses. Got the wrong ones on. I'll just go and get a couple of things that we've picked up during the week. By the way, thank you to everybody who pointed out to me the Fox News video. Yes, I appreciate it was put out, I think, in April earlier this year. But the information that they were putting out was or is still quite valid. So other than the number, there are more than 12 states. In fact, every one of the states has now done a complete recount, and they know exactly how many votes were where and why and all that. So, as they say in the classic, stay tuned, folks. So yeah, the Cossack isn't with us, and that gives us an opportunity, I guess, to talk a little bit about what's going on in the UK at the moment. So the pound is crashing. They're using the King's coffers. That means the King's money. It used to be the Queen's until she died, but now they're the King's, and the King has a lot of money. Now, apparently the Bank of England has delved into the King's coffers to try and prop up the pound, which might mean that's part of the reason why it's still just above $1 US. I would expect another hit on that very, very shortly, and for that run to continue, the draining of the King's coffers, you could say, has commenced. I think that would probably be a fair assumption of what's going on at the moment. Now, there is also a lot of things happening on the streets of London. If I put... a lot of people, a lot of troops, and that was just one of many places around, particularly London. They were seen coming out of subways, they were coming out of buildings. Now, there are a few theories floating around about this. I don't know that I subscribe to the theory that it was a show of force by the dark side, if you like. I don't think that was the case at all. Didn't see too many of them armed, and they were, well, marching, but loosely so in ranks. So it was more a casual walk than an ordered march. It was also a few days after what was the largest security operation in global history, where I don't know how many world leaders were floating around, 500 or more. So the security for that was unprecedented, and these blokes were probably hidden all over the place. Could have been part of that operation, or it could be some other kind of signal that we're not actually aware of. I wouldn't be at all surprised. So yeah, can't enlighten you a great deal more about what's going on with the the military. I know there are a lot more videos floating around, and to be honest, I haven't seen anything today, so there's probably a whole heap more floating around to explain that. There are some rather disturbing videos that are coming to light. I'll get to one of those shortly, but what I will do is play something for you that has also come out of London. Now, we know that we're sort of due, if you've been a Q follower, you'll know that we're due for the fake alien invasion. I have a personal theory that it has something to do with the moon and the Artemis rocket, which they were due to launch, I think, last month in August or early September, and they had a couple of failures on the launch and have now rolled it back to the assembly plant to fix those. And they are projecting that it will launch in October. I'm predicting sometime probably toward the middle of next week, or the end of the second week, if you like, of October. It's loaded with the latest camera technology and no people. It will go to the moon. It will orbit the moon. I'm not even sure if it's not meant to be dropping something down onto the moon that will, of course, send video back to us here on Earth. I wouldn't be at all surprised if we saw something unexpected coming back in beautiful 4K all the way from the moon. What that might be, who knows? Might be a building, might be something moving, might be something really unexpected. I think anything that we saw that looked like a building would be very unexpected. Might be enough to say, oh, somebody's living up there. If that were the case, I would counsel you that if they are living up there, they've been living up there a long time, and if they haven't invaded us yet, then it's probably not likely anytime soon. Does raise a whole heap more interesting questions, though. And, of course, then there is a whole heap of videos like this that come out.
I think I know what they are.
So let's see, what is that? I'm telling you, this is UFO. I promise. Why? Why? What? Tell me.
What is this?
What is that?
That one is switching off and on.
It's no Photoshop.
What is that?
It's no Photoshop. It's no Photoshop. Look, it's no Photoshop. Look at
they
that.
are Queen airplanes.
No, it's not Queen aeroplanes. It's
Queen
It goes very
airplanes.
slow. It's a pylon, David.
No, there's lights.
And the airplane, they never fly close to each other. So look how close they are.
again.
there's really fast
I will
one
go
there.
smaller. I go zoom. What is that? And zoom. This is for me. It doesn't look like aeroplane. Look in zoom. Look in zoom.
It does it because it's orange as well.
What are these? Why does it look like fire? Yeah, why do it look like UFOs? Wait, why is that one not?
No, listen. What is that?
That one. Oh yeah, that's a star. Look at
Right. That's a little weird, isn't it? So I have a question about UFO videos. I'm just going to not share that with you just yet. We'll come back to that. UFO videos, UFO pictures. What is it? How hard is it? I'm going to show you, folks. If you are going to shoot video and you have a mobile phone, please, if you have to shoot it like that, it's not ideal, all right? Don't shoot it like that. Don't shoot it like that. Don't shoot it like that. But have your phone the normal way, or if you have to, turn it that way, all right? Shoot like that. Oh, shut up. Good. Shoot like that. That way, you don't wind up having to turn your head on your side or upside down because some numpty, shut up, doesn't know how to hold a phone. I mean, okay, I guess if you're seeing a UFO, you could be a bit excited. My hands would probably be shaking. His hands weren't shaking. He was proving it wasn't anything to do with Photoshop. But I would say, UFO videos, why are they always so bad? I mean, we have the best technology in our phones, in our hands now. You can go and buy a camera for a couple of $100 that'll take pictures of the bloody moon. Well, take pictures of the craters on the moon, some of them. But whenever we get a video about a UFO, it's shit. It's blurry. It's held by a numpty who decides all the way through the video just to keep, turning the thing around. What sort of a... Folks, if you ever see a UFO, just like that, go, oh, wow, 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 wow. It's in shot right there. Wow. Okay? Don't go, fucking wow, fucking wow, Jesus, fucking wow. God. Anyway, it's not going to help us if you do that. But anyway, maybe that's the beginning of the alien invasion. So there's a whole heap of interesting things happening in America. Probably the biggest thing that's happening in America, I guess, at the moment is the devastation that's been caused by the hurricane that's gone through Florida, particularly. It's gone, I think, across the Florida Panhandle, started in Fort Myers, worked its way across to Orlando. I think North Carolina has copped a flogging. I've seen some pictures this morning, at least, that show utter devastation in many places. And at least this morning, I haven't seen any news services or anything today. There are, I think, hundreds missing this morning, so it's probably gone into the thousands by today. That's terribly sad, and I feel for all those people. God help us if we ever find out that the weather has been truly engineered for this sort of thing. I mean, we talk about it a lot, and I haven't spoken about geoengineering here for a little while because we're doing a lot of investigating on it at the moment, behind the scenes, and it's very difficult to get the truth out of anybody. There is a whole heap of disinformation going around. Those companies that we do know that are flying these rather interesting routes in little aircraft, not at high altitudes. They're not jets spraying things out. They're mapping or whatever they're doing, but nobody can seem to answer why they're mapping the same areas over and over and over again, and then they go away for a day or two or a week or two and then come back and map the same area all over again. Those areas just happen to be over towns or over areas where other developing weather systems might be. And bugger me dead, 2 days later, in every case, 2 days later, there is rain. So there are questions that need to be answered. So far, we can't get anybody to answer them. There are two guys on the Gold Coast that are working their ass off, and they send me a lot of information. I don't get back to them a great deal because at the end of the day, it's all hypothesis at the moment because we cannot prove what we're doing, and we've got to be a bit careful about what we say or what they're doing. And we've got to be a bit careful about what we say. So I have no urge to go and get them, myself, or anybody else in trouble. But it does strike me as interesting that these companies, when they've been contacted, don't really have answers for the questions that have been asked of them. And I find that, pretty interesting, just in and of itself. Carl, the batteries went flat. They just had to do it over. Yeah, that's probably exactly what happened. The thing that gets me is some of these cameras are $3.5–4.5 million they're using, LiDAR cameras and that sort of thing. I've learnt so much about surveying and why surveys are done and what is being surveyed. Do you know they actually measure tree growth? They measure the canopy, they measure the height of trees and how much it's grown over a certain period and all this sort of stuff. They do that in pine plantations. I guess that's for forestry. They also do that in the far north Queensland, the wetlands, the jungle areas, if you like, the tropics. Maybe they're doing that to, keep the jungle at bay. I don't know. That's the questions. We don't know. There might be very, very reasonable answers for all of this, but those people in charge don't seem to want to tell us. So we wait. If you've just tuned in, folks, I literally got a message about 3 minutes before I hit the live button that the Aussie Cossack couldn't join us tonight. He's been called away, unfortunately or fortunately, by his lawyer. That's better than being called away by the police. But he's, been called off to a meeting rather late on a Friday night. and he will give me a call afterwards. He said when it's done, and we will reschedule his live. Maybe we'll get to it later tonight. I'm not sure. I've been up since 2:30 this morning, so there's probably not a big chance it's going to happen later tonight. At least not with me involved. I might be here, but my eyes will be shut and I'll be snoring rather loudly. I'll see if I can mute the microphone. That won't bother the Cossack. He'll talk regardless. That'll be fine. If we can't do it tonight, then we will do it tomorrow at some stage. He's said that. Mrs. Cossack gave me a call because he was already at the meeting. Let me have a bit of a glance through some of the questions here. Yes, apparently King Aussie Cossack is in a meeting. Have you been off and bought silver, folks? There is some pretty good deals on silver at the moment. I don't pretend, and I am not a financial advisor, so do not ever follow me for financial advice. However, I would suggest you go and buy some silver. Gold is one thing, but costs a lot to buy an ounce of gold, about $2,500. But to buy an ounce of silver, under $40. So might be a really, really, really worthwhile investment. Even 1 or 2 ounces could be a really, really worthwhile investment. So I would suggest if you have a spare $40 or a spare $80, you might go and have a look and see where you can buy it. There are plenty of bullion companies in plenty of cities. All of them deliver to you. You don't have to go to them. And probably worthwhile checking out. That's just a tip from someone who was talking to someone today about silver. And he was most insistent that if I was going to be talking about it, I should be telling people to buy it. So where do you buy it from, Kristen? Hang on a second, Kristen. Let me scroll back up. You live in Queensland. There is a place in Queensland called Ainslie Bullion, AINSLIE Bullion. I think it's ainslieBullion.com, probably .au. I don't know, but it'll be ainslieBullion.com or ainslieBullion.com.au. You can check out the bullion online there, I think, and you can buy it online there. They have an office in Brisbane, and they allow you to go and pick it up, is my understanding, or you can also order it and pay for it to be delivered by courier. So it's secure all the way, it's tracked all the way apparently, and everything, checks out. I know people who've used it and they swear by it, to be honest. So it doesn't matter how big or how little your order would be, they have a way of getting it. And of course, if you've checked out some of the other videos that we've got on the channel here, check out the one from Cass Smith from probably 2 months ago now, where she was talking about self-funded super funds or self-funded super accounts. So if you want to roll your super out of a super fund and you put it into a self-managed super fund, then you can convert the money that you have in your super to gold or silver, and it could be a very, very lucrative turn. Now, I personally know a couple of people who've done that, and they've followed Cass's advice. They've withdrawn super out of their super funds, and they've rolled it over into these self-managed super funds. It doesn't mean you've got to find a home for, $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 worth of gold and silver. You're not allowed to hold that because it is, after all, a self-managed super fund, so it must be held in a vault. But smaller amounts you can hold yourself. I know of people who have varying different amounts. Some, a few kilos, some, a few ounces. You can, if you've got a safe at home, I guess it's safe as anywhere is in your safe. So you can buy it when you've got a spare $40. And I would suggest if you had a spare $40 sooner rather than later, would be my tip. So Ainsley Gold or Ainsley Bullion in Queensland, and I believe ABC Bullion, I want to say in Sydney. Ainsley Bullion are also in Melbourne, and yes, I think it's ABC Bullion in Sydney. They might be in Melbourne as well. The Perth Mint you can buy from, but the fellow today I was speaking to said that the Perth Mint doesn't have much silver left. So there's probably more coming, but they don't have much of that at the moment, and they do have a fair bit of gold. What's going to happen to the price of silver? Well, apparently it's going to go up. So, yes, I know that seems pretty obvious, but I hesitate to say the numbers that I've heard because they sound incredible. So I'm not going to say the numbers. All I'm going to say is if you've got a spare $40, go and buy an ounce of silver. And if you can spare a bit more than $40, go and buy a few ounces of silver because it might gain a little bit of value in the not too distant future. There is apparently quite a lot of Peter Ackers is quoting a price here, a silver price. I think that's American dollars. I think you'll find that silver price. So yeah, that'll be. In fact, I'm sure that'll be the. If it's not, then go and buy it because that's. At least about $10 cheaper than I was told it was today. So I would say that's the American price, Pete. The Australian Bullion Company says, Maria, thank you. Philip, brother. Philip says, have it in a physical sense, not in an online account. Yes, that's the thing that always confused me about buying silver and gold. I didn't think you were allowed to hold it, particularly gold. I thought you were maybe only allowed to hold a small amount of gold. But apparently that's not the case. You can hold quite a number, or quite an amount of gold. Hang on. It's the Cossack giving me a message. I'm just texting. I know I'm not driving. I'm just texting and talking at the same time, which is, as you're about to find out. All right, so he says he's stuck with the lawyer. Reschedule for tomorrow. Apologies, brother. 100% tomorrow. So I'll just let him know that's all good. And we'll go from there. I'm sure the lawyer is shouting dinner. I hope so, the way it should be. So getting back to gold and bullion, it's always confused me. I've never bought it because I didn't know that you could actually hold it. So now that you can hold it, that's a bit different. I would be going out and spending about $40 because that's all I got and getting an ounce because the numbers that I've heard are quite incredible. And if I was to say them to you, you'd say, oh, you're a dickhead, Carl, go away. So all I'm saying is instead of buying a packet of smokes, go and buy an ounce of gold, an ounce of silver. Because that's what it is. It's a packet of smokes, a packet of 20s. Maybe a packet of 30s. No, it wouldn't be a packet of 30s. Maybe a packet of 25s. And it's probably better for you in the long run. So yes, watch the markets. That would be my hit. Apparently, the whole silver gold metals market thing is to do with something called a Comrex scam, which is when the players in the market bet against stocks going up or down, and they have bet against silver and kept silver down artificially for a long time. And I think what we're going to see in the world market with different things crashing and the Comrex scam being exposed is a rationalization of the gold and silver prices to something that is probably a bit more believable. And that means that gold will probably go up a little bit or a bit more. I don't know. Once again, don't take my financial advice. I don't know. It could go up 500%. Who knows? But silver will go up by comparison pretty strongly. And because it's been suppressed for so long. That's my understanding, at least from the guy who was talking to me today about it. Philip, the Perth Mint, I believe the Perth Mint are having some issues with some silver stock. This fellow today seemed to be quite knowledgeable. Yes, Ainsley Bullion, that's the one that I remembered. Hello, Tanya. Thanks, Philip. ABC Bullion. This is a good question. Carl, spent epic amounts on surveillance cameras. Yes, I have seen that, particularly on the Gold Coast. Some people have sent me some images there from along the Esplanade and around the main areas of Surfers Paradise, but I believe they're further afield than that too, in Broadbeach and a few other places. I had a look on the Sunshine Coast while I was there. I've got to admit, didn't see anything there yet. Not to say they're not there. Maybe I just wasn't looking close enough. But my God, the structures they've put up on the Gold Coast are amazing. They look like camera robots. They're bloody like trees growing off telephone poles with many arms and many cameras, all pointing in different directions. They'll all have microphones too, so they'll be able to listen to what's going on, and they'll be directional microphones, so they'll be able to zoom in on conversations. Very, very high technology, all for our safety, I am sure. And look, they will come in handy for that. They will come in handy for that. Are they facial recognition cameras? I reckon there's probably a fair bet. Is the facial recognition software turned on? There's another bit. There you go. Here's a bit of advice. A wee big silver bull kilo going for around $1,000. So a kilo of silver going for around $1,000. So a kilo of silver, that'd be a fair bit to lug around, I suppose. And if you're going in to buy the milk with it, I don't know. We're going to have to come up with a better idea, aren't we? Because we're not going to have to walk in with a bloody great machete and carve off a chunk of silver off a kilo and pay for the milk and eggs in the morning. That's going to be bloody difficult. They'll have to figure something out. That's what we were just talking about, Billy. How do you spend silver? Shave off a sliver of the petrol, save off some of the pumpkins and the peas. No, I don't believe that'll be the case. I think they'll always have to be, at least in the short term, some form of currency. It'll be a dollar and coin thing for some time. Yet I know a lot of people are talking about blockchain technology and Bitcoin and that sort of thing. I'm sure that will happen. I'm sure that will be part of the quantum financial system changeover. However, there's going to have to be a transition because people aren't going to understand what they do with their money and how their money turns into something that isn't money anymore, but you can still spend it like money. I don't pretend to understand blockchain or Bitcoin or any of that. I'm not a smart man when it comes to stuff like that. Numbers, you see, I right up in the back of the head and it all gets very messy. But I do know some people who are right into it, and one day I hope to get them on to talk. They're generally fairly quiet individuals, but one day I hope maybe to get somebody in who's a bit more knowledgeable on it and can give us an idea. So Diane, what are you saying here? Oh yeah, $1,000 for a kilo, yeah, but $40 for an ounce. That's pretty cheap, I would have thought. I suppose I can just. Here I am trying to give out website addresses, and let me see if I can just bring this up. Ainsley. All right, hang on. Buy gold, buy silver. Price lists. All right, let me have a quick look here. Looks like there's coins and ingots. Some of the coins look pretty cool. Ounce silver Australian Philharmonic coin, 1 ounce Ainsley minted silver bar. Both of those are out of stock until mid-October, but buy now to secure your thing. There is a Krugerrand. You can buy 1 ounce silver Krugerrand. And the price is $41 for the Scottsdale mint gold bar. I beg your pardon, that one is. Silver coin Krugerrand is $40.54. The Australian Philharmonic coin is $40.19. The Australian Ainsley minted silver bar is $37.54. And it looks like the cheapest one is a 1 ounce, 99.99% silver kangaroo coin for $36.73. They get cheaper if you buy them by the 2,500 or 250 by the looks. They don't get that much bloody cheaper. But there you go. That's some of the stuff that's available. I know you didn't see that, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share their website, so I didn't. But yeah, Ainsley, what was it? Ainsleybullion.com.au. Hang on, I'll post the link if anybody wants it. Just post that in the chat now. So if you want to go and check it out, that's Ainsley Bullion with offices in Brisbane and Melbourne, I think it said on the front page. Somebody saying bullion now for gold and silver. Yep, they're very good. All right. So we were talking about America, and we were talking about some interesting things that are going on in America at the moment. The whole business about Trump and the Mar-a-Lago raid and everything else that's going on with him at the moment. He's been particularly vocal at the moment on Truth Social, on his webpage or his page there. He's offered himself up as the lead negotiator in a deal to stop the US and Russia going to war over Ukraine. I find the whole thing, and I'm going to put up a little banner there. I'll let you read that. I find the whole Ukraine thing just a bit weird, because Ukraine has never been separate from Russia. Russia has allowed Ukraine to, pretend it wasn't part of Russia, but it has always and will always be, the whole part of it, always part of Russia. What Russia are letting them do is be autonomous, but there are those certain areas of the Donetsk region particularly, those people don't want to be in Ukraine. They don't want to be part of Ukraine. They want to be ruled by Mother Russia once again. And that is backed up by, if you don't believe the vote, that is backed up by social media, that's backed up by real people, journalists on the ground in Ukraine, reporting to the rest of the world, telling us what's really happening. In fact, one of the one of the saddest things I saw last week was just one of those people reporters, if you like, a citizen reporter, who was doing a report about the shelling of a school that was a few hundred meters down the road behind him. And he was explaining that the shells, if they were coming from Russia, would be coming from the other way. Instead, they were coming over his head, and they were being fired from Ukraine into the school. And then Russia was being blamed for it. You won't see those sorts of reports on mainstream media. You've got to go deep into Telegram and other places to find that sort of stuff. But I encourage you to go and check it out. There is plenty of good stuff in there to have a look at. Now, I want to bring up a 107 video, which is a couple of days old now. He was on with one of America's freedom fighters, Nunio, and he's a great guy. One is one way or the other connected to Trump or not. He tells a good story, got a great set of cowboy boots. Take it for what you will. But he does have some interesting insights into, we did say a couple of weeks ago that don't be at all surprised if Trump is arrested. We think that's probably going to be part of the plan. I don't think we thought of it was going to be part of this plan, but I'll just play this video for you from Juan, and we will. Oh, where am I? Why is that not playing? Oh, maybe because I've got the wrong one up. Where is it? Here we go. Righto.
In the U.S. here, the Congress is preparing and now has current, fresh information from Trump. You don't have to go back to January 6th. 17th and the intervening period between the election and Biden being put in office. Trump gave them fresh information with his declaration, put me in office, I won 2020, so he's in denial.
Not seeing that really, are you? Hang on a minute, I'll try and stop it.
Or put me on the ballot
Oh no, it's working.
which
No, it is working, it's not working.
precedent for that to overthrow the Biden government and elect a new president, do a do-over. So Congress now has the ammunition to charge Trump with insurrection, with sedition, with inciting an insurrection and attempting sedition. Congress will arrest him. They probably will put him under some type of house arrest that we would interpret as a hostage situation.
That's why he's doing it. He obviously wants it.
Okay, let me add this. If he's under house arrest, he will not be communicado. He's not doing any rallies. He's not doing news conferences. He's not getting to do anything except talk to his attorneys. In that environment, anything that happens within the citizenry, his hands are clean. Because
That's I'm sorry about the mess up at the front. I hope you got the gist of it. It's a very interesting proposition that he puts forward. They are expecting Trump to be arrested with and charged with the likes of sedition. They'll likely put him under house arrest. There's no evidence of anything like that, but he can't be charged if the country rises up and starts wondering what's going on when they arrest Donald Trump. So he can't be blamed for any of that if that were to happen. So it's a very interesting move on the board, I would have thought, just between you, me, and the Gatepost. Now, I'm going to try and share something else with you. Really got to remember to bring the right glasses here. Now then. So there is a really bad, if I say so myself, thing that's sort of happening in the world at the moment, and it's to do with the education of our children and the normalization of things that we ordinarily would not condone, particularly in a school sense or even in a social sense. Now, I'm going to play something here for you, which is pretty bloody wild. There is a show being had here with a bunch of kids who are, well, I'll let you watch it, and and we'll see. Let me see if I can make the bloody thing work first. Perils of working with a laptop and a fat thumb. So I don't know if you can... I think you get the idea, don't you? So that's a transvestite show, a transvestite stripper show that is put on for children. And there's kids there in the front row waving around $5 notes or waving money around. I just ask, why? Why do we have to have that? Why does that need to be normalized for kids? I had a conversation with a colleague this morning. It was a rapid conversation. It was about Virgin, who are now allowing their air crew to wear whatever uniform they'd like. You can wear a dress, you can wear a suit, you can wear, as long as it's the uniform. Doesn't matter what gender you are, you can pick your uniform, and great. I have no problem with that. If that's what you want to do, then fine. Just fly the plane right. I prefer you didn't have the spicy jab, but from what I hear at the moment, there are multiple pilots on all flights, just in case the ones up the pointy end go to sleep when they shouldn't, or start twitching uncontrollably, as has been happening. So anyway, Virgin have said that they're quite happy to let you wear whatever you want. If you get out of bed in the morning and you want to put on a set of high heels and the skirt instead of your pilot epaulets shirt and pants, then feel free. It's all good. But the conversation got a little bit deeper than that, into how there are different genders, and I said, well, you know, the science isn't on your side, and I was told very smartly that the science was on their side. I said, well, has there been another chromosome introduced? Because as far as I'm concerned, there are only sort of 2 sets of chromosomes, and you either come out male or female out of that. I don't understand how you get anything else. Not from the chromosomes anyway. No, wouldn't accept that. That's my science is incorrect, I was told. And yet we know they haven't found a hidden chromosome from somewhere. Or we do know that? I'm pretty sure we know that. Although with APRA, who knows? They've probably made one up and told the doctors to tell everybody about it. At any rate, I just thought that sort of stuff's being handed out in your schools to your kids. And if they're going away for a school excursion, who's to say they're not going into the Spearmint Rhino at 11 o'clock in the morning and getting a private show just for the kids, to educate them? I'd be horrified. But it's clearly happening. It's certainly happening in America. So I don't know. If that's happening in your place, let us know. I don't know what we can do about it, but we'll certainly let others know, that's for sure. Just, yeah, fairly shocking sort of shit. Wollongong, pissing down in Wollongong. Oh, okay, so the rain is about. I think it's pretty wet in a lot of places south of where I am at the moment. Hello, Sophie, up in Far North Queensland. I hope to get up to Far North Queensland soon. Oh, okay, let's talk about Cherie. Haven't spoken about Cherie. So, folks, if you haven't already read the blurbs everywhere, we have a marvellous angel sent from admin heaven. Her name is Cherie, and she is straightening up my life, organising it in ways I didn't believe possible, and helping me with the emails. So if you have a question, send it to her. Don't send it to me. It'll work a lot better. Also trying to put a lot more information up on the website. So Cherie has been around with us now for about a week or so. We've only just started to get a grip on the website. She's been dealing with emails and comments and requests for shows and all that sort of thing. Now, if you'd like to get a show, if you want us to come to town and put on just a show for the night, or you want to do some Magna Carta education, very happy to come and be involved with all of that. Cherie is coordinating the lot. In fact, she's doing it the whole lot nationally. So we put the two words together and made her the Voice of Freedom National Coordinator. And when I say we, she did. She's the boss. So that's what happens. So get a hold of Cherie. Cherie, SHEREE, at VoFHQ.com. And if you've got a question, if you want to know how to get a hold of me, want to know where I'm going to be, want to get me somewhere, go through Cherie, because that's the only way I'm ever going to get to turn up anywhere. When she tells me where to go and when to go, that's where I'll be. So, yeah, she's got all the information there too. If you are looking for details on the People's Council, then I have posted on the Voice of Freedom homepage, VoFHQ.com, a whole heap of information. There are links there to the Frankston People's Council page. While it isn't completely populated yet, I would urge you to go straight to the minutes section. And if you are interested in setting up a People's Council, read the first 3 meetings minutes. They're not long, but they will tell you exactly how the council is set up, what you require, and how you go about making it formal. Now, I've been in touch with Spiros, and we've had an email exchange. He's very sorry he can't give any legal advice out to people. So for everyone who's contacted me and asked me for his surname and associated other bits and pieces, I can't pass that along. He isn't able to give legal advice for a variety of reasons, which we won't bother going into, but it's just not possible. However, he is able to do the things that he says he can do and has done. So the People's Trust of Victoria is now running. The People's Trust of South Australia, I think, is about to kick off. The same for New South Wales, Queensland as well. Now, I think New South Wales and Queensland are the two most recent signees. The ACT is involved as well. They're waiting to get their websites up. As soon as the websites are up in all those states, we'll put them up on the VoFHQ.com website so that you can just click on them and it'll take you straight in. There'll be details on how you file your fine or whatever it is that you want to send in, and they'll make sure that you do it the right way, and they will look after everything at their end, and then we'll see what happens when the government comes calling trying to find the money. So it's going to be a very interesting time. So all that stuff is in train. We are still looking for people in Western Australia and Northern Territory and Tasmania, although I believe some people have put their hands up. If you are interested in setting the trust up, then it's very easy to do, and the details are also on the VoFHQ.com website. You only need 3 people, one being the administrator, one being the treasurer, and you need a litigator, and that, of course, would be Spiros. So now we get to being a mayor. If you want to be a mayor in your People's Council, then might be able to help you out a little bit there, but follow all the rules and regulations as laid out in the minutes of the Frankston People's Council first 3 meetings. Now, during that process, you will find yourself getting to a point where you will nominate, or a leader will emerge amongst you and somebody will be the mayor. You'll want to elect them as the mayor. At that point, let Cherie know, and we will put you in contact with Spiros, and he will contact you and let you know how it can be formalised. He will have to do a little bit of legal work with that to make sure that it's all done. So on the website, VoFHQ.com, you will find all the details that you need to have, essentially get all your ducks in a row before we link you up with Spiros, because Spiros will just come in and say, right, you've signed that, you've done this, you've got this set up, you've got a phone, you've got a website, you've got elected people in the admin and treasurer position, bang, let's go. And that's how quick it'll happen. So that's the play. If you want to be a mayor, then you'll need to be a leader. You'll need to be someone who steps up and wants to step up in the community. There seems to be some confusion about a People's Council and setting up a People's Council and people's knowledge of common law. There is no common law requirement. You don't need to have any level of common law knowledge to set up your People's Council. They're two separate things, and until such time as we can bring them both together, they will remain two separate things. So a People's Council, anybody with a mind to help the community can run, can set up, can join. And that's exactly what we want. We want the people in the community who want to help the community. And Darren Bergwerf and his team are an ideal model to follow. If you've got movers and shakers in your community who want to help, be that setting up breakfasts for the homeless, or setting up dinners, food runs, meals on wheels for the elderly, or just doing visitation for elderly who live at home by themselves. Maybe it's going to a nursing home and hang on, I'm probably getting into aged care facilities. They probably still require you to be, squirted in the arm. So I'd probably not worry too much about that end of it. But there's plenty of other things in the community you can do. And of course, when the People's Council in your area starts doing things for the people in your area, they're going to notice you. And when comes time for council elections, maybe the People's Council stands up and says, well, we're going to run in every one of those ridings or seats in the council, and guess who's going to win them? Because the people will have seen the people's councillors out working. They will have seen for themselves the money that's been invested and spent wisely in the community. And I think you'll find you'd probably get elected pretty smartly. So if that's the kind of thing you would like to do, this is a great avenue to do it. Now, you can go off and do it all by yourself, absolutely. But there are 3 arms required: admin, treasury, and litigation. I don't know too many people who are prepared to litigate on your behalf for free, but Spiros is. So you need to follow his guidelines for him to do that. And those guidelines are available at vofhq.com on the homepage there. I'll go back through the questions very quickly just to see if there's... I'll put my finger on the mouse. That'll make life a bit easier. Pardon me. Yes, so the Aussie Cossack has promised tomorrow. That will be all good. Okay, Nick. That is a good question you raised there. How many people can actually afford to buy silver and gold? Well, I certainly couldn't afford to buy much of either. I couldn't buy any gold. I mean, I think you can buy gold by the gram. I didn't look at the bullion site too much, but I think I saw there that there were grams you could buy of gold, but I don't think you can buy silver by the gram. I think you can only buy it by the ounce. Look, like I said, it's $40. Now, if you don't have $40, it's a lot of money. And I understand that because I don't have $40. It's, and if you do have $40 and not much more, you can probably think of 100,000 better things to do with your $40 than, go and buying a little silver ingot. It's a decision for you to make. Our life is made up of choices. I'm just suggesting that it could be very beneficial. If you had to forego 1 packet of smokes, if you had to forego, can you even buy a carton of beer for $40 these days? Maybe, 2 6-packs. If you could forego 2 6-packs and buy 1, you might find that it was one of the better choices you've made in your life, if only for buying 1. So what did we say before? $37 something, I think, was the cheap, or $36 or something was the cheapest coin that you could buy. That's a 1-ounce silver coin. Look, once again, I'm not a financial advisor. I don't give financial advice. Please don't ask me for it. Don't take me for it. I'm just telling you my opinions. And I think, given the conversation that I had today from a man who is very deeply involved in that business, I would be going off and potentially spending $40 or more if you can, and buying silver. What are you going to lose? A packet of smokes? A couple of 6-packs? Okay, if it's the difference between eating this week and not, then okay, probably better that you eat. If it's it's the difference between giving the baby nappies or not, then I understand. It's all good. That's probably a good decision. However, if you do have $36, $38, $40, $41, whatever it was, go and buy 1 ounce of silver, because I think you'll find in the not too distant future. Oh, there you go. I won't say it, but Sandra has heard. So I've heard similar numbers. I've heard bigger numbers. So I'm just saying, sooner rather than later. And I believe that if you buy online, your order is secured at the price you buy it at. So if perchance it were to, well, let's say today, if you were to go there now, I don't even know if you can buy it now after hours or whatever, but if you go online and you can buy now, and it's obviously going to be a long weekend in most places, or at least in Queensland, New South Wales, I think. they're going to send it to you someday next week, and maybe on Sunday night, the price goes through the roof. You can't buy an ounce of silver then for anything less than maybe $20,000. So the price that you paid for it tonight or tomorrow morning or whatever will be the price you actually pay, even though you haven't got the ingot in your hand. And then if you were to turn it around straight away, if the price, once you've got it in your hand and the price has gone up like that, that's a pretty good return. And that's how you spend your silver. You take it back to the place where you bought it and they convert it to cash, at least in the short term. That'll be how it works. There may be other ways and means in the future with QFS and all that sort of thing. But yeah, that's, I believe, how it's going to work this time around. Okay. Seems like somebody's won a lawsuit. I did load up a couple of pictures I thought I might show you. This is one I found interesting. What I can't do is zoom in close enough to read the date on that thing to see whether or not it's anytime soon or recently, or if in fact that is just a Photoshop piece of crap. Doesn't look Photoshopped, at least first instance, but I only got it about 10 minutes before the show started, and I haven't had time to give it a good look over. There's been a lot of talk about BlackRock and Vanguard. Now, I have posted a whole heap of stuff in the description. If you want to go through it, feel free and have a look. This is BlackRock. This is most of the companies, not most, some of the companies that they own. And of course, all those companies are owners of other companies all the way through. Now, we heard that BlackRock had gone bankrupt. So I would draw your attention to two things. Chapter 11 down on the left-hand side, third line down, it says Chapter 11. Now, Chapter 11 in US bankruptcy law is a restructuring kind of bankruptcy. You're still allowed to trade, you're still allowed to try and work your way out of it, and everything's going well and good. Now, there is a different chapter, Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which is insolvency, and that's more in line with what we're thinking about when we want to see a company like this one or Vanguard disbanded. Now, we also have to be very careful about company names. While this is a company named BlackRock International, Inc., I'm not completely sure that it is part of, indeed any part of, BlackRock. The same can be said of Vanguard. I have a Vanguard I'm trying to share my screen again. I have a Vanguard bankruptcy notice as well, and it basically says that the company is called Vanguard Enterprises. It's an advertising agency. It has filed for Chapter 7. It filed earlier this year and has been trying to work its way out of it. Now, it says it's got between 11 and 50 employees. It's in Bangor in Maine, I want to say that is, ME, maybe not. It's a privately held company. It's into customer service, marketing, sales, management, communications, events, and promotion. Provides promotional marketing material for major 100 and 500 company clients. So that means the top 100 and the top 500 companies on the stock exchange. So that falls very much in line with Vanguard, the parent company. However, this isn't Vanguard, the parent company, I don't believe. I believe this is a small sub-company. So let's not get too excited yet about what we think we're seeing regarding the likes of BlackRock and the other mob. haven't seen whether or not they've got any ability to link those two companies together. I don't know that Vanguard Enterprises Inc. is Vanguard, and I don't know that BlackRock, whatever it was, Enterprises Inc. is BlackRock and the owner of all those other companies. But we are endeavouring to find out. It's interesting to note that the dates on the bankruptcies were quite a while ago. Vanguard filed theirs in January of this year, and BlackRock filed theirs a few months before that in 2021. So it's been going on a little while, and if they are related, then it could just be some of the companies that they are subsidiaries of BlackRock and the main ones, and being taken down. That's just supposition, though, just pure supposition. I just caution you to be very careful about believing that BlackRock and Vanguard have gone broke yet. I find it very difficult because they own the banks, right? BlackRock and Vanguard own large financial institutions. There are private banks in America who have also apparently gone bankrupt. Bank of America being one of them, Chase being another one. Now, I don't know anybody in America. I don't know anybody with a Bank of America credit card. If you do, and if you happen to be one, love to know if it still works. You'd have to assume that if Bank of America went bankrupt or Chase went bankrupt, any of those big American private banks went bankrupt, then they're not going to continue your line of credit because they can't get any money back. So you've got to think that a lot of people would be screaming loudly that their credit card isn't working anymore. And if we're led to believe that the debt levels are what they are in America, most people are living on credit cards. So that'll wake a lot of people up. That would obviously wake the market up, and the market would start to shake pretty much uncontrollably. I think it would collapse. So is this the trigger we're all waiting for? Who knows? I don't know. I'd like to think it would be, but I can see it could be one way that they do it. But I am pretty confident it's being done one way or the other. We've seen the predictions of what will happen, the order of things, how it will happen. We've been told to be patient. We've now been told that it started. Remotely awake, you are clearly seeing things. So just being awake at the moment, let's just talk about that. The time to wake other people up is gone. We can't shake awake anybody else at the moment. Right now, you've got to look after yourself and your family. Keep your head down, get yourself prepared. We're likely to, need to use the tin food for a day or two. Won't be able to use the banks for a day or three. Could be a little nasty. Food, go and get some, food preparation stuff that you can store away in the bottom of the cupboard and be able to use at any time in the next few weeks. I don't think that in Australia, at least, that we're going to have anything like a severe lockdown, but it's possible, highly possible, I suppose. We don't really know what's going to happen. Be prepared. Be a Boy Scout or a Girl Guide or a Cub or a Brownie. Go out, be prepared. And that means getting a bit of water, getting a bit of food, getting a bit of toilet paper. Not all of it, okay? Other people need to shit too. So don't grab all the toilet paper. It's just one of the most stupid things to be fighting over. I kid you not. However, I will tell you there are an awful lot of very interesting homemade bidet videos on YouTube if you're really feeling strangely creative, I guess is the way I'll put that. But yeah, go and check those out. So I think I've covered everything I was going to cover in a completely different show. That's why it's all a bit unprepared. I'm sorry. The Aussie Cossack was going to be tonight's show entirely, and I wasn't going to bring all this other stuff up. So that's why I've been jumping around a little bit between one place and another. My apologies for that. Now, I will ask you, if you will, folks, to go over and check out the Voice of Freedom website, vofhq.com. I'm putting stuff up there. I'm going to endeavour to try writing a bit more soon. That'll save you having to listen to my voice and see my ugly face. And hopefully I'll write something that's either entertaining, a little bit witty, or maybe give you something to think about. Whatever it'll be a bit of fun. That's what the whole thing's got to be about at some point. We can't be all doom and gloom. We can't be all worried about what's coming in the future. We know what's coming. We trust that we have made the decisions we are, and we're going to live by them. The good Lord has woken us up for a reason, and I'm thankful that we're here just to watch what's going on. I don't know about you. I don't feel the sense of panic that some people are feeling, even though they're awake, they're concerned, they're anxious about the future, because we don't know the timeline, but we're starting to see things. Just chill. There's no amount of worry or anxiety over when is it all going to come to me? When are we going to see it here in Australia? When will huge amounts of money materialize in my bank account? We don't know. They may not. Chill. Sit back, watch. It's just a big show. It's a big show. So don't get anxious about the big show. If the big show gets too much, turn the sound down, like a horror movie. Not scary if you turn the sound down. And for God's sake, stay away from the mainstream media, because they're just going to get apoplectic in the next few days. I suspect there's going to be some very big cover stories, big distractions in mainstream media. If you are on Telegram, then you'll get a lot of that great news through Telegram. And Signal. Now, Signal is another app. If you're not aware of Signal, go to your app store and download it. There is so much chatter about Signal. It's a former military app. I'm not even sure if it's still a military app. But that means it has military-grade encoding on it. And there are story after story after story coming out of Europe, out of America, and various places around Australia, that should the internet go dark, like be switched off, then Signal will work for some reason. So maybe that's just a marketing ploy from Signal. I don't know why, because as far as I am aware, I don't think it costs anything, and you don't get ads or anything with it. So go and check it out, Signal, from your app store. It doesn't hurt to have it on your phone, just in case it's all right. A lot of talk too from amateur radio enthusiasts. Hello, Gary. Hello, Chapo, and the rest of the crew around Ipswich. A lot of people talking on their ham radio sets around the world with others, particularly in Europe. So a lot of people in Russia and Serbia, some in the Ukraine, who are telling the truth on their ham radios. So if you happen to have one of those, or you've got an interest, it might be time to go back and get a CB. Who knows? Also hearing, speaking of CBs, I asked this question of a communications guy the other day. I thought I knew the answer, and I think I was right. So we are hearing stories of some big dramatic event that is planned to happen from the Black Hats. Now, one of those threats, one of those threads, if you like, that we follow, says 17 cities, one event. We are led to believe that the one event might be an electromagnetic pulse, which is essentially a nuclear weapon going off in the upper atmosphere above a city or above a country and frying everything that's underneath it. Anything that's turned on, any electronics that are turned on, will be useless if they're hit by an EMP. I am led to believe that the effects do wear off after a certain time period from the EMP, but any electronics that are turned on when it goes off aren't going to work. So I asked about two-way radios and CBs and all that sort of stuff. Same deal for them, unfortunately, unless you have them shielded. And apparently you can spend many, many thousands of dollars and shield your system. Not sure if that's going to shield your aerial or your wires or your cables or your microphone or whatever. Failing that, they advise to always have a spare machine turned off. And in the event that there is an EMP, you can just turn it on and it'll work. So if you want to have that sort of level of communication, then that's the advice I've got from some ham radio operators. And, well, God knows we've always wanted to have a CB, haven't we? And maybe even create a convoy, because that was my first knowledge of CB radios, Convoy, the movie. All right, folks, once again, my apologies tonight for the Aussie Cossack. Unavoidable. When the lawyer calls, you've got to go and do what the lawyer says, particularly while you're still on parole. I did talk to him about coming on tour with me, maybe coming and doing a couple of shows. There is a chance I'll be back down in New South Wales next week. And as he isn't able to travel out of New South Wales, we might see if we can't get him to a show somewhere around Sydney and sit down and have a chat with him in person rather than doing it online. If you are interested in getting a show and you're down around in New South Wales, Cherie, talk to Cherie urgently. Cherie at vofhq.com is her email address. Coffs Harbour, Port Macquarie, Newcastle, where else? Bathurst was talking about a show. I know it's Bathurst week. I'm only kidding about going to the race. If I want to go to the race, I'll watch it on telly. And I will do that in style if we are heading down, because Cherie has organised and given me full permission to use her television, which is a big one, all Bathurst Sunday. So she's a good woman. So yes, if you want us to come and do a show, we're happy to come and do it. Also going to try and do a breakfast show out of Katoomba. There's a wonderful lady named Michelle who's got a wonderful singing voice, just a magnificent voice. She did a little set after we finished our live show from Penrith a couple of weeks ago. And she informed me that she's got a little breakfast bar, if you like, just on the side of the highway up in Katoomba. And would we like to come up and do a show up there? Love to. It's only little. And she does breakfast. So bacon and egg rolls, coffee, all that sort of thing. I think as long as she's got a heater there as well, I'll be okay. But we'll go to Katoomba, to Michelle's place, and do a show one morning there. Bega are saying they'd like us to come down. I'd love to come down and do a show in Bega. Beautiful part of the world down that way. And I've got a mate in Bateman's Bay and his lovely wife who I would love to call in and see. So if there's anybody in Bateman's Bay or around that area and you're interested in getting a show in your part of the world there, get a hold of Cherie. She's Cherie with an SHEREE, and get her at Cherie at vofhq.com. And she's putting together a bit of a run at the moment that includes New South Wales, Victoria, and Tasmania. So Black Sheep, I'm not sure. I haven't got my chat up at the moment. Not sure if you're in there. I'm pretty confident she's contacted you already. If she hasn't, then she's contacted some people who you know. So Cherie is looking at dates in Tasmania and in Victoria too. Shepparton, I think, was one she mentioned. South Morang is another one that we are looking at doing. We're going to go down to Darren Bergworth's My Place, and we might do a couple of shows from there. We might go over to Geelong. There were some folks in Geelong that were saying we can maybe do some Magna Carta education there, so that would be awesome. And I forget now, somewhere down in Gippsland, I want to say too, just escaping me. Cherie's the lady. Talk to her. If you want us to come to your place, your town, put on a show, have a bit of a natter, find out what's going on in the world. I think there's going to be some pretty interesting things in the next few weeks. We'd love to come and share them with you. And you can just contact Cherie and organise it. That'll be great. Cherie at vofhq.com. I'm going to get going, folks, because quite seriously, I did start at 2:30 this morning. Stupidly, I've been doing breakfast radio on a radio station on the Sunshine Coast, and I normally get out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning. For whatever reason, I wound up going to sleep about 8 o'clock last night, and I only sleep about 6 hours. So 2:30, wide awake, like eyes wide awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking, what the? So anyway, I managed to clean up the motel room really nicely and waited 15 minutes for the water in the shower to get hot. That never happened. So it was one of those sort of tubs you get out of the little basins. Not good. And then we disappeared off to work at the appropriate time. So I'm a bit knackered. Haven't had my little afternoon nana nap today either. Just having a bit of a glance down to see if there's any questions in here that I can answer before we go. What do I make of the new anti-corruption commission organised by the government? I don't have great faith in it. I don't think you can have an anti-corruption commission filled with people who should be on the other end of the commission being investigated rather than standing lording over it. So maybe I've got my wires crossed a bit. I'm not completely across the anti-corruption commission, but I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them at this stage, CPN, based on other corruption commissions that we have in this country. Journeyman, there is a comment on Bitcoin, has zero intrinsic value. This is the point I've always struggled with. I agree. But I've always figured it's because I don't actually understand how it works or where the money is somehow accumulated. There are much wiser people and people who have made a lot of money off Bitcoin who know better than us, clearly. It's got something to do with our inability to understand what they're doing. But how much longer will they be allowed to do it? That's the thing. The Chinese Bitcoin miners have been shut down. So this is a little bit of old intel. It was discovered that under the Three Gorges Dam in China, aside from labs, weapons storage facilities, quite a number of nuclear weapons, human beings trafficked, labs working on human beings. There was also the largest Bitcoin mining operation in the world, apparently an area of about 20 football fields. Now, I imagine that that's probably American football fields, filled with desks and computers and people doing whatever it is you do to mine Bitcoin. I don't know that there are too many people involved. I know there's a lot of computers involved. So certainly I don't believe that it's one person per computer. It's not an individual kind of thing. It's done on this huge mass scale. And it all comes down to computing power. It has something to do with transactions and getting a fee for facilitating a transaction. So that's as close as I can get to it, and it's probably 100% wrong. So don't take any of my knowledge on Bitcoin for granted. Carmel, what have you got up here? Buy 1 ounce coins and some gram bars and 1 ounce bars. Yeah, so Carmel, was that just, I know you can buy grams of gold. I can't tell you for how much, but I have seen that you can buy grams of gold, but I don't think you can buy grams of silver. They have to be ounces, either coins or bars, as you say. Hello from Harvey Bay. Hello back, Harvey Bay. We're coming back to Harvey Bay in November. Di and the peer group are setting up another show. I think we're coming back, and it does involve a Friday, so it's probably going to be a free-for-all. We'll see what we can arrange, but that'll be great. Looking forward to coming back to the Bay. Had a wonderful time, met so many wonderful people who came out to see us last time we were there when Guru came to town, and we had our really big television set up with the really shitful audio again. All right, let's have a look here. No spending limits. Thank you, Helen. No spending limits, I gather, to buy gold or silver or anything like that. You can spend 100K if you like. Yes, I believe that is the case. If you've got the money and you walk in with it, you can walk out with it, so to speak. If you are moving your superannuation into a self-managed super fund, that's a different matter, because you would be dealing with, assumedly tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of product, then, and it is still your super, you have to keep it in a vault. You can't keep it at your place. It's not something you can chip away at, so to speak. You will be able to get access to it, obviously, because it's your self-managed super fund, but getting access to it will have to follow those rules, and that's where Cass Smith, we might get Cass on again for another chat, and she can explain how that works. I'm being misled. Oh, no, maybe somebody else is. Julianne, yep, the price you're quoting there, Australian, $29.43. That's bloody cheap silver, if that's the case. Yes, Anna, I think you are 100% on the money there. I'm going to put my little hat on here because it's getting bloody cold and there's a mosquito trying to eat me. Yes, I think this is all something to do with the QFS. And yes, the RBA, I think I posted up the link to that. If you didn't see it already, there's the article from Real Money on that. There are further articles now out in mainstream media about the bank's position. And of course, all of those mainstream media articles are saying that the RBA, it's nothing to worry about. The RBA, unlike any other bank, can print money. And that's quite true. It can, if it's allowed to. But we've been led to believe that the RBA has not been allowed to print money for over 2 years now. So that creates an interesting argument because the government gets its money from the RBA. It doesn't. People think that our taxes go to the government. They don't. They actually get siphoned off and go off to the cabal. The government then has to get money from the RBA, and the RBA prints the money. And I don't quote me on this, but I think a $100 note costs 32 cents to make, and then they sell that $100 note to the government for presumably just under $100. The government then can on-sell it to whoever else and make a little bit further money out of it. At the end of the day, the RBA supposedly hands over the money that it makes every year to the government in those sales. So I'm not exactly sure, it's like using your right hand to pay your right hand to, wave at your left hand. It's, a bit weird. I may not be explaining it correctly. Pardon me. Looks like Guru's coming to town. That's one hell of a burnout. It's gone about 3 blocks, that one. Guru's going to love that. I've got a racetrack now. Anyway, folks, I'm starting to ramble because my eyes are rolling back in my head and the drags have started up. So I'm going to give it up for the night. How long? Oh, shit, we've gone an hour and a half. So, and I've done that without the Cossack. God help us when we get him on. Galactic Larrikins are wonderful people. Thank you very much to everybody who is saying nice things about the Galactic Larrikins. Bradford and Co. I don't know, Bradford, if you haven't already gone and had a look on the website. Rob and Mark, you all rate a mention. Thank you very much for the help that you give me and the support that you give me, particularly Bradford, who's just been a godsend when it comes to helping with setup for the show and all that, particularly in Queensland. But the other guys have been able to help when we've been in New South Wales, and I really appreciate that too. Also, having a bit of a glance down, I'll try and get to the bottom. Ukrainians speak Russian all the time. Yes, that's true, because funnily enough, they're Russian. But just an idea. Ukraine was Russia in 1917. Okay, so just to be clear, Ukraine has never, ever, ever, ever been separate from Russia. When the USSR broke down, certain countries did break away, if you like, from Mother Russia. Ukraine wasn't one of them. It became a state, and it became a, if you like, independent state, but not really independent. It never gained sovereignty. It is not a sovereign country, all right? Ukraine still is sovereign Russian territory. Always has been, and I suspect always will be. But Putin or the other Russians involved have said, look, you can have your autonomy, you can run your country, you can run Ukraine as you will. Now, the fact is, Ukraine has been the home of the deep state since forever. The Khazarian mafia basically built Ukraine from time immemorial. So he knew what was in there, I dare say, and wasn't too concerned, let them go off and do whatever they were doing. It's only been the last few years where he's taken an active interest in what goes on in Ukraine. Now, the disputed states that have decided to vote themselves back into Mother Russia have always been part of Russia. And every one of them, every person in those areas speaks Russian, not Ukrainian. I mean, they probably speak both, but they are native Russian speakers. And there is plenty of video around that will show what happens to old Ukrainians living in Donetsk and other regions along that disputed border line. What happens when they met the Ukrainian troops that were coming through? They were shown no respect. They were threatened, beaten, and in most cases, we suspect, killed. So the people who voted to go back into Russia, it wasn't a rigged vote. They definitely want to get back into Russia. They've never been out of Russia. Russia is just now exerting a little bit of purpose to try and, protect certain assets, including a nuclear reactor power station, which I think has 5 nuclear reactors in it. And somebody was shelling it. It wasn't the Russians. So mainstream media would tell you the opposite, of course. Had hoped that the Aussie Cossack could bring us up to date with a bit more of that, because clearly he has much deeper contacts, and he has people on the ground there, people that he trusts. All we can do is watch and hear what they have to say and see what goes on. So hopefully tomorrow we will do that live with the Aussie Cossack, take 2, and we'll find out all the bits and pieces about his time under government accommodation, what he's been doing since he's got out, how good is the book, and when is the launch. There's talk of the launch or a pre-launch for the book next week. So we'll see whether or not that comes off. And when will the book be ready to publish and buy? That will be the big news. But Cossack is also setting up a couple of other interesting little things on the side. So with a bit of luck, we'll get to speak to him about that, and potentially Mrs. Cossack, who is starting her own channel, from what I've heard. So we look forward to seeing how that all comes up, and I can't wait to see exactly. Hang on. That's Darren Bergworth. He's very excited. Sorry, Darren, I can't talk to you, but I am getting off the phone. I am getting off the chat. He's probably having a party at my place there tonight and doing really well. At any rate, tomorrow, the Aussie Cossack on this channel. Have a great night, folks. If you are going to be on the roads over the weekend, it's a long weekend. Be safe. Plenty of dickheads out there. Don't you go and be one.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!